As you may notice, I have a different background. Yeah, this is now mine and my brother's recording room. I had an extra room in my house, so I offered him to make it into his own recording room, and he did. So he did all kinds of those soundproof foam things that you put on the wall, and then these not cardboard, they're like wood with whatever the hell they put over it that's nailed to the wall. And yeah, it's kind of creepy. If you walk in here and you yell hello, 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 there's no echo, your voice just falls flat. So I did a really good job with the recording room. I'm probably not going to be recording that much, just here and there, but my brother does have a new YouTube channel that I would love for you to check out. He will be posting regularly, and I'll go ahead and post the link down below this video, called D&D Legends and Lore. But anyway, you're not here for Dungeons and Dragons. You're here for scary stories. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. I hope you get cozy, get creeped out, and if I don't see you before Halloween, then I hope that you have a great, creepy holiday. This first story is called, drumroll, now roll, Fine, Keep Your Rent's Money. I wish my landlord would tell me that. I'm a property manager and 1 year postpartum, so I returned to my company part-time. This is fun because I get to float around to different apartment communities who need help and just help where needed. In September, I helped at a property about an hour from my house. It's a bit of a drive, but fairly small property with relatively no big problems, so easy money for the day. I'm covering for a manager out on vacation, and of course it's the dreaded 6th of the month. This means I'm handing out late letters and making calls, unfortunately. Definitely not my favorite part of the job, but it is necessary. The one thing that I hate about floating is the residents don't know me well, so I'm delivering late letters and calling, and they don't even know me. Again, not my favorite part of the job, but it does have to be done, so here we go. I had about 10 late letters to deliver. All was going normal and fine. Some people answer the door and say, "Yep, sorry, I'll have it paid on such and such date." Another person didn't answer, so I left information on the door, but they flipped me off as I was walking away. How are you gonna flip people off because you're not paying your rent? That's crazy. All pretty normal stuff that comes with the job. I get down to about the 7th or 8th person. I walk up to this apartment, and I can tell from the outside the occupants have absolutely destroyed this home. I smelled cigarettes, cat urine, and general mustiness before I even knocked. All blinds were broken, blankets up in the window, all of the works. I get up to the door, do my normal quick knock, waited about 5 seconds, and was ready to post notice to the door. Right as I was folding it up to put it between the door partly swings open. A gentleman wearing just his boxers and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth opens the door but doesn't unlatch the security lock, so the door's not opened all the way. "What do you want?" he says as he's giving me a death glare, but also looking me up and down inappropriately at the same time. I explained I was just here to deliver the late letters and that I would be on my way now. As I'm explaining this, I notice he keeps looking over his shoulder as if someone is standing next to him behind the door. I find this odd, as if someone is hiding from me, especially because because this gentleman won't open the door all the way. I hear some whispering, and now I'm sure he is communicating with someone. The gentleman in the doorway asks me to wait and says he has things in his apartment that he needs looked at. I explained I was just there for the letter, but that he can send photos into the office and that I would get work orders in. He begins complaining about our maintenance team and states he really wants someone to take a look in person. At this point, I'm feeling really uneasy. Typically, I would enter and help, no problem, but between the looks this guy was giving me and the creepy who knows who behind the door, I'm just not feeling safe at this point. I defer again, trying to make myself sound unimportant and just say, I'm just a floating person. I can't do anything without manager approval when she gets back, so really there is no point. At this point, something catches my eye upstairs. I see a window blind move. I notice 2 additional guys upstairs who are both staring down at me. I'm so uneasy I could be sick at this point. I tell the gentleman that I won't be entering without maintenance or the property manager present due to it being an ongoing maintenance concern, and there not being much I can personally do. He looks annoyed and finally slams the door in my face. I get back to the office and grab the maintenance supervisor for the property to chat things over regarding this encounter. The maintenance supervisor explained to me that there used to be an old man who lived in that apartment, but then his son took over the lease after he died. He told me he's noticed a lot of strange activity and individuals around that home since the dad died, but he hasn't personally witnessed anything illegal yet, so he's just let it go. He explained they plan to make them move when the contract is over due to the condition of the home alone anyways. While I cannot prove something horrible was going to happen if I entered the premises, this is by far the creepiest encounter I have had in my property management in 7 years. And that is the end of that story. So, I will say, absolutely nothing happened in that story, but they did paint a good picture. I could picture it well. The debilitated state of the apartment, the creepy, grungy looking dude with a cigarette at the door, that feeling you would get seeing 2 guys staring down at you as the guy at the door is looking you up and down. Pretty creepy and very smart. She didn't go into the apartment. I feel like most likely, but you never know, but most likely nothing would have happened because they would obviously get caught. She's an employee at that apartment, but I don't know, you just never know. You just never know. Let's see, let's look at the comments. Somebody said, definitely sounds like they were planning something bad. Somebody said, they definitely were hoping to get you inside to attack you. I would say, I don't think so, but I wasn't there. I just think, how stupid do you have to be to attack the employee of the apartment you're living at? And I don't know, it's just weird. It sounds like they were manufacturing or dealing drugs. The cannabis smell, that's meth. Interesting comments for sure. That's a very unnerving situation. On to the next story. This story is called Hide and Seek. My wife and I have been renting our house for the past 2 years. Sparingly throughout our tenure, we have heard running in the attic, bangs on the ceiling of the basement. I have seen shadows following me. We have heard full conversations outside of our bedroom window, locks on our doors changed, and other odds and ends which have given us the spooks. I am hearing things move upstairs as I am typing this. There's a plane about to go by. Soundproof room, my ass. Yesterday, it has seemingly intensified. When I got home from work, I came home to greet my wife and 2 daughters. The kids were napping, and we decided to play Fortnite to take advantage of the opportunity. When the kids woke up, all was well. We had snack time and enjoyed our night together. As the night was coming to a close, my oldest wanted to play a new game she just learned, hide and seek. She's very good at running away from us and hiding when things don't go her way, but not while we play hide and seek. When it is her turn to hide, she likes to peek around the corner and watch me count, and cutely lets me find her immediately. When it is her turn to seek, she is super excited and loves it, but she can never find me. She always runs to her room first and goes under her bed, one of her usual spots we find her. It may seem like something lighthearted and small, but we have no clue where she learned what hide and seek is and how to play it. She has been infatuated with playing it for the past week. Maybe she'll get better at it. Maybe I've seen too many scary movies, but it still gives me the creeps wondering where she learned the game. Another weird experience happened later that night when it was time for the girls to get to bed. I was on my way back to get my oldest changed and ready for bed when my wife said, "She's by the curtains," as she had just saw her walk in and they were visible from where she was sitting. I looked and didn't see her there, but she had crawled out from behind her recliner across the room. When I brought her in to change her, my wife had a petrified look on her face. She said she was staring at me with a blank face and stared at me for 10 seconds and then went by the curtain to the corner as you were walking out. Today, I went downstairs about an hour ago to our basement to fluff our laundry in the dryer, to find the 4 bottles of detergent and fabric softener, along with a couple other things we keep on top of our dryer, have all been knocked down. These items were all standing straight up on the ground except the laundry detergent, which had been knocked over and spilled all over the ground. I was pissed because I thought our cat may have knocked it all off, since he likes to sit on it and look out the window. But after discussing with my wife, she was down there last. Our cat had been on our room all night, and all of the items were on the dryer. I went upstairs to show her what had happened, and 3 of the items were back on top of the dryer, and 1 was knocked over on the ground. We had yelled out, "Is anyone down here?" multiple times and searched the whole basement to no avail. We returned upstairs frightened and searched around our house a bit more. We decided whatever it was. Oh God. That scared me. I just got a text, but it showed up as a big black box, and I thought something was behind me for a second. Well, so far this story is kind of creeping me out. It's making me kind of jumpy. We returned upstairs, frightened, and searched around our house a bit more. We decided whatever it was downstairs, and we were safe as long as the door was locked. We decided to head to bed, and as we were walking into our room, we heard a small girl's voice. "Hey!" coming from the kitchen, yet our daughters were asleep. Now we are waiting to see what happens, but I will update as time goes by. And for your information, we are not high and do not feel paranoia. We're just worried for ourselves. And that is the end of that hide and seek story. That was fun, very fun. I myself have never experienced a haunting, but I do like to read stories where people talk about their experiences. I take it with a grain of salt, but if it's true, then that's pretty creepy. Maybe they could like set up a camera or something downstairs to see if they catch anything move on its own. Okay, on to the next story, which is called The Sounds Next Door. Back in 2013, I lived in Providence, Rhode Island, and had moved there for a new job. It was just me living there in a quaint and spacious townhouse with my then 4-year-old daughter. We were relatively new to the area and didn't know many people, but did become familiar with the kind older gentleman who lived next door. His name, for the purpose of the story, was Ben. We lived in a connected townhouse with our 2 units abutting each other. Our street was lined with beautiful floral trees and was quite nice, but Providence is weird in that the conditions of the houses and little neighborhoods can vary drastically street by street. We were near a few rough neighborhoods, but I felt relatively safe in my new home. I remember a few nights prior to the specific night, I saw a Facebook post with a safety tip to put your car keys next to your bedside so if anything ever happens, you can press the alarm and scare the intruder off. I've never been overly concerned about my safety and rarely took advantage of any tips I saw on Facebook, so I'm not sure how or why I suddenly decided to heed this advice. I was reading a book in bed with my light on in my second-floor bedroom hours after putting my daughter to sleep when I heard a loud sound outside. I peered out the window to take a look and saw nothing. I had taken some melatonin that evening, turned off the light, and went to sleep. It was maybe a half hour later or so when I was suddenly woken up by what felt like almost an earthquake. The room shook and I heard a loud thud. Half awake, I gasped and sat up, wondering if it was my imagination or if I actually felt something, and immediately ran to my daughter's room, thinking she had fallen off her bed or injured herself or something. As I swung her door wide open, there she was, sleeping soundly and sweetly. I was so confused. I heard another loud bang and had this eerie feeling that something was wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. I grabbed my car key fob and took it downstairs as I nervously inspected the first floor. I swore to myself if I heard one more sound, I would press the alarm just in case. But I didn't. It was silent after that. I returned to the bed and took a while to fall asleep again, but soon shut my eyes. The next day went on like any other day when I noticed a friend of mine had repeatedly called me in the afternoon. I picked up my daughter from preschool and called the friend back. "Did you hear?" he said. "No, what?" I answered. "News outlets were mobbing your street about an hour ago, and the news trucks were even in your driveway." I sat silent, confused. 3 men broke into your neighbor's place last night, tied him up at gunpoint, and stole thousands of dollars worth of items, and took off with his car. I immediately fell to my knees and began sobbing. I had heard it all happen. I almost pressed the button, but I didn't. I sobbed and felt completely unsafe. I asked a friend to come over for the night to stay with us, and it wasn't until the next day I got the chance to speak to Ben. Ben explained the whole story and told me the cops wanted to talk to me so I could share what I had heard and experienced. He said the men smashed the window in his basement and entered through there. That's the sound I heard before going to bed. they saw my light and me peering out the window and waited 30 minutes or so until my light was out to enter the premises. They didn't realize he was home, and since he had gone to bed early that night, it was suggested that they cased his place beforehand. He had been asleep when one of them was rummaging through his stuff upstairs in the bedroom, which was directly on the other side of my closets through a shared wall. The sounds and shakes I heard and felt were apparently the intruder knocking him down to the ground after realizing Ben was there, and cupping his mouth to tell him if he made another sound, he would kill him. This is why I never heard another sound as I was investigating thereafter. Those texts keep creeping me out. After they tied him up, he remained tied up for over 12 hours and eventually broke free before calling the police. I cried again and apologized profusely to Ben and explained what I had heard, and he simply said that as he was tied up, all he could think about was that he was glad it didn't happen to me and my little girl. I really don't know what I would have done if my daughter and I had to experience that level of trauma firsthand. Ben seemed to be okay considering it all, but it took me so long to feel safe again and for the guilt to subside. They never caught the guys, and I ended up ordering a taser, which was illegal, and some mace, and even for the first time in my life, considered getting a gun, but I decided against it. I have been fortunate to never experience anything close to that again, and certainly don't want to. I'm glad Ben was ultimately okay, but next time I'll listen to my instinct. It's better to be safe than be sorry. To the men who tied up and robbed my old neighbor, let's not meet. Oh my god, that's so scary, that poor old man. He sounds very brave and very well put together considering the circumstances, but man, that's crazy. It does suck that she didn't sound her alarm, because, you know, that may have scared them off sooner, but it is what it is. You can't change the past. At the very least, the silver lining is that doesn't sound like they harmed Ben at all. They just threatened him and tied him up, and then sacked his place. I'm glad Ben is okay. Let's dive into some of these comments. Oh, the writer of the story replied to a comment and said, "Fortunately, we've been without incident since. My daughter is now 16, and we live in a safe neighborhood. Sorry you have to worry about that too. It seems there's areas in all countries where you can't escape crime, unfortunately." So scary. And the cops never found the intruders. Crazy. That's definitely... I feel that's definitely going to stick with her whole life. She's probably constantly going to be paranoid of burglars now, which I totally get. I think it was 2 nights ago my power went out, and the first thing I thought of was, what if a burglar went to my breakers and turned down my power, and now they're going to break in? But no, it was just a power outage in the neighborhood for like 2 hours. Ouch. And you don't even like realize how reliant you are on electricity until it's gone. My phone was at 5% battery, so I was like, fuck. But it was fine. I just lit candles and laid in bed. And I think we are gonna move on to the final story. I'm hoping this thing came into my home and sat on my bed. Then I lost time. When a 38-year-old Mel, was 18, I lived in a suburb of southeast Melbourne, Australia, Noble Park. Our house was the odd one out on a street of 70s, 80s brick homes. Ours was an Alpine-style weatherboard home with a steep roof built in the early 20th century. It was old, cold, and noisy, and you could see the ground through the gaps in the floorboards. We had a big dog who stayed outside until everyone was home, and then he slept outside in a big pen doghouse at night. Mostly in the summer. We also have an indoor cat. The week it happened, I was home alone. Dad was overseas. Mum and Sis were visiting family. One night, when walking home from work, I rounded the corner and noticed a figure standing on our carport roof, looking through a window into one of the 3 upstairs bedrooms. Oh, fuck. The sun was setting, so all I could see was a dark silhouette. I yelled at it from the top of the driveway, and it was gone. I remember thinking it odd that my dog didn't bark or notice anything. I went inside, checked the house, the dog, the windows and doors, etc., and everything seemed in place. I assumed I had just seen a shadow from a nearby tree at sunset. The following night, I walked home from work and everything seemed normal. I checked all windows and doors, let the dog inside for the evening, and eventually put him and myself to bed. My bedroom was upstairs, down the hall from the room next to the carport roof. Before bed, I had a routine of shutting all doors in the house, as they were all squeaky, and the drafts would often blow them closed if I left them open. This night, I closed all doors, checked locks, turned off all the lights, and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, I was awoken by something. Not sure what, but when I came to, focused my eyes and looked around, I saw the hallway light coming in under my door. Oh my god, that's my worst nightmare. Okay, I'll tell you after the story. I thought I turned it off, but perhaps I forgot. Right then, my doorknob started rattling. Oh my god. This is my worst fear. Like someone who was struggling to open the door. I immediately laid back down on my side. Okay. Facing the wall opposite my bed, and my heart started pounding. I heard the door open, and I closed my eyes. I figured if someone is breaking in, I'll pretend I'm asleep. What? And maybe they'll take what they want and leave. That is something I've never thought. That's a strategy. That's a strategy. I slowly open one eye, the one against the pillow, so it's less obvious. I see the light from the hallway on my wall. My bedroom door is fully open, and my heart is beating harder, and I just lay still. I see the digital clock on my CD player, and a little after 2 a.m. Then I hear the door creak again and watch as the light on the wall slowly starts to disappear. The bedroom door is closing. At this point, I'm positive we're being robbed, but I continue to pretend I'm asleep. Keeping one eye open, everything is heightened. The loudest noise is my heartbeat, but I try to listen through it, and I can't hear anything. No breathing, no footsteps, nothing. At this point, I begin to feel pressure around both my feet. The blanket is getting tighter around them. Oh my god. realize that something is now sitting on the bed. I look at the clock again, and now it's a little before 3 in the morning. I'm frozen, I'm scared, and I have no idea what's happening. At some point, I have the idea to slowly readjust my position in bed and move my feet a little to see if something moves or something happens. So I do this, but as I slowly readjust my feet, I feel one of them hit something solid. Something is definitely sitting on the end of my bed. What the fuck? I don't know what to do at this point, so I stay still and I listen while looking through one eye at the clock and the bedroom wall. The next thing I remember is hearing the first birds starting to chirp before sunrise. I look at the clock, and now it's a little before 6 a.m. I notice the room is brighter. The sun is coming. Shortly after this, I feel the pressure lift from the end of the bed. I hear the bedroom door open. I see the light from the hallway on the wall again, and then the door shuts and the sun starts to rise. I got up shortly after this and checked the whole house. All doors and windows were locked. The dog had slept through the night, and nothing from the house was missing. My cat was stuck in the bathroom overnight. He must have followed me in when I brushed my teeth without noticing. I'm not sure what happened, but I won't forget that night at Noble Park. Before I look at the comments, I have two theories. One, he was literally just dreaming. You know, when you're dreaming, but in your dream, you think you're awake. So he was dreaming, or he was drugged. So whoever may have broken into the house may have had like chloroform or like injected him with something, some kind of drug. Those are my two theories. That was a really, really good story, especially because for me, I live by myself, and so before I go to bed, I always turn off all the lights in the house, and my biggest fear is to be laying in bed and to see the hallway light turn on, because then, that means somebody's in my house. And then for my doorknob, I always lock my bedroom door, even though I live by myself. And for my bedroom door, to someone try and open my bedroom door from the other side, that's like something I just look out for. It's always just on my mind when I go to bed. Like, how scary would that be if I saw my hallway light turn on? Anyway, that happened in this story. Very, very scary. Though the tactic of pretending to be asleep, that's an interesting one. Let's go into the comments. Okay, so the writer replied to a comment and said, I'm 100% sure mine wasn't a dream, but that feeling of pressure and someone in the room is not nice. So the writer does not think it's a dream. It was a dream. I dreamed a dream. How's the song go? I dreamed a dream that could not be. I dreamed that love would never die. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. This person said, I would have shouted for whoever it was to get the fuck out of my house. I used to be a paranormal investigator, and I learned that showing weakness is dangerous. If you ever have similar experience, state very firmly that whoever is in your home is not welcome and needs to leave immediately. Okay, this guy thinks it's a ghost. Most will leave. For the rest, I have a salt ritual that I follow with smudging that is pretty effective. Oh, you know what? This reminds me of something. Okay. My mom came over the other day, and she believes in ghosts and wanted to ghost hunt in my house because she tells me that my laundry room is haunted, and then goes on to say that the EVP that she took says that somebody in the EVP that she took, she said she heard a voice say that I should hang myself, which, if I'm being honest, annoyed me. I just think it's very irresponsible to come into somebody's house and tell them that there's a ghost there that wants you to kill yourself. I just think that's very irresponsible. So I got annoyed with my mom. And I don't think I'm gonna let her ghost hunt in my house if she's gonna be, you know, saying stuff that's annoying. Hopefully she doesn't watch this. Shit. I love you, Mom. Anyway, I would say that last story was the best story today. What do you think? I mean, hide and seek was cool. The sounds next door is traumatizing. And fine, keep your rent money. Nothing really happened. Just a creepy dude in a creepy apartment. But still creepy. Alright guys, I know I haven't seen you in forever, but I do gotta go. Maybe I'll post one more video before Halloween, but this time, or next time, I will try and find really scary stories rather than just picking a title. I'll actually do some deep diving. That'd be fun. I do love those stories that have videos or pictures attached. Pictures are always fun. Well, I will see